This episode is brought to you by Geno's East of Chicago in Los Angeles. When people think of Chicago pizza, they think of deep dish. Geno's East has the only authentic Chicago deep dish pizza in California, and it's award-winning. In Chicago, we don't eat deep dish every day. Our everyday pizza is also Chicago pizza. It's thin crust tavern style, and Geno's East has an amazing take on it. I love it. So many people haven't tried it yet, and you should. It's thin, with the cheese going edge to edge and cut in a checkerboard pattern for easy eating, and it has an amazing taste. If you love sports, Geno's East is great for you. It has 12 screens, and they specialize in Chicago and LA sports. They hit all the big games, too. I love having a beer and watching a game there, man. It just feels like you're in Chicago. Also, take advantage of their lunch specials on weekdays. It's a personal-sized 7-inch deep dish, a side salad, and a pop for just $14.95. You can get it until 2 p.m. Geno's East of Chicago and L.A. is at 12924 Riverside Drive in Sherman Oaks. It's just off the 101 and Coldwater Canyon exit, near the corner of Coldwater Canyon and Riverside. There is street parking and a parking lot in back. Open at 11:30 daily, every day of the year except Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'll see you there.
Sit back and relax. It's time for peanuts, popcorn, and Cracker Jacks.
Hey, how's it going? I'm your host, Jeff Santo, and I'm here with my wife, Christie.
Hello, hello.
Welcome back to Peanuts, Popcorn, and Cracker Jacks for season number 4. It's been a while. We've been on a little bit of a hiatus.
Filming a movie.
Yes, Forever Wild Ones.
Currently in the editing process.
And we are forever wild after doing that movie. I'm telling you right now, that was something very special. And I have to say this for the people that know us and listen to our podcast. We've been planning this for a while, over 3 years in the process. My wife directed, and I played one of the leads. And we were ready to do this film.
We were.
And I'm very excited to report that, at this early stage of editing, it's a rough cut. We're getting towards the third act here. But when you do a rough cut, you're always kind of like, oh, it's tough to get through it and whatnot. And in this stage where really only filmmakers should look at it because the sound isn't involved, really. There's no mixing. There's no sound design. There's no score. There's no music.
There's no color.
Yeah, no color. But I knew right from the start that what we have is special. And I've been through this enough times to know, like doing my dad's documentary, it took a while for that thing to come into its own, and then we're like, oh, this is special. But my dad's story was already told. I mean, we told it, but it was a story that was out there for us to capture as a documentary. This story is our story. We wrote it together. We produced it together. You directed it. I played the lead, one of the leads, co-lead, and you're also editing it.
Right.
And
I think also directing it, knowing that I was editing it, had a lot. I mean, I wasn't directing it for someone else to cut it. I was in my own head knowing what I wanted. And so the editing process is smooth.
It is.
And everything that I know that I got.
Yep.
And the questionable spots, we were able to make it work, and it really ended up being a lot better than I thought. So, and those were just minute moments that we had, just because long days and,
Yep. We shot it 19 days, which is quick. And those were really fast and hard-working days. We shot it all in Arizona, in Phoenix, in the Phoenix metropolitan area. And it was hot. I mean, it was hot when we started at the end of March. They set records being over 100 degrees during spring training, which, I went back there as a kid, and it was never that hot,
Yeah.
But it helped because our film takes place inside the movie through the summertime, and it ends up on Independence Day, which today is Independence Day.
Yes,
how
happy
fitting,
Independence Day.
Right? Yes, happy Independence Day, happy 4th of July, and that's where our film really it ends on that day.
Yep.
So, but overall, I have to say this: I've been through this process many times, and I've been an independent filmmaker for 30 years. Me and you have been together for 18 years, and I haven't been a part of. This is the most special film I have ever been a part of. And I called it my World Series of Independent Films. I say my because I grew up in baseball. It's our World Series of Independent Films. But as everyone knows, my dad never got to a World Series, never got to even a playoff game, him and Ernie Banks. And I always thought about him when way back doing this movie with what I expected it to be and prepared for it to be. And I feel like, we're now in the postseason and it feels great. This film to me, it's our film together, and that's why it's so special.
Well, our films are our babies.
Yes, they are. But this is a real baby that really we made together. Like, I did my dad's film. We did a documentary. We did Dead in Five with, it's kind of Sonny's film.
Would you say that your other films that you brought to life, you wrote the script, you shot all the footage, or, those, and I helped in a producing capacity, but also in an editing capacity. Would you say that those are like my half-children?
I would say yes. I would say so, yes. And this is your full kid, 100%. And it's great to see, like, I had a different perspective on this one. I was an actor, and I got to sit, in the middle of the set there watching and observing before I had to act. And it was great. And I feel like we were prepared for so many situations in this film, and we had such strong people with us, like Richard Crudo and Lenny Masai, that just added so much and protected what we were doing and what we wanted to do. And I also feel that every actor that came into this production was at the top of their game. And a lot of them had, it might have been their second film or third film, or a few their very first independent. And they fit the characters, man.
We had some really cool
we did.
Supporting cast.
We did.
In addition to Eric Roberts.
Who was phenomenal. And we had such great support with our investors. And thank you guys. Very grateful for everything. I wake up, more importantly, I feel like I wake up every day now and go, I can't believe we got it done. Thank you. It was a threshold. Doing this film. And for a lot of reasons, I'm getting older, and I felt this, what this film says too, it's timely. And I think a lot of people will enjoy the ride of Forever Wild
How
Ones.
do you feel now being an actor, seeing yourself on the screen when I'm editing?
Yeah, that's interesting because during the filming, I really never got to watch anything. We were moving that fast. I might have saw one playback, and that was a fight scene just to see if I was throwing my punch the right way in that scene. But other than that, I didn't. And I have to say this. I was really prepared for this film. And you know that. You saw how hard I worked for the last 2 or some years. And I look at it this way. I remember when I was a little kid at spring training, and I would remember my dad taking ground balls every day. Leo DeRocher would hit him like 100 ground balls a day. And I'd watch him out there, and he'd do it day after day. And the older you get, you're like, oh, my God, that's why. He practiced. He worked so hard to become who he became. And I thought when I was rehearsing for this part, because I knew the character well, based a little off my dad, a little off Sonny Barger, a little off myself, right? And I say this, I took my ground balls,
Yeah. Yes, you did. I witnessed it.
Yeah. And so for that, I was ready. I know the craft well as a director for many years, and I've always had this deep down in me to be an actor, and I'm thankful and grateful that you said you should play this part. And to me, the meaning behind that, I feel that every actor that came to fill a supportive role, felt the same thing about what they were doing. You could tell.
Yeah,
you could tell how
heart.
A lot of heart by everyone that came in there. And I think people are going to be very, very surprised from. I say that because people don't expect, an independent film. What are we going to see? But this kind of film are the ones that you go, wow, man, there's something special there. How they did it, and how we did do it was very special. The amount of time that we shot it in, the amount of resources. Felt like there were little miracles all the way through the making of this film. Really, all the way through. We're like, wow, how did we get that done? We got it done. All of our locations were phenomenal, too.
Phenomenal locations. We really put in the work to find these unique places that spoke to the story and also provided, just that feeling when you're on a road trip and you're going, oh, wow, look at this place. Oh, this is interesting. It gives it that feel because we didn't, we did it in a metropolitan area. Yes, we really, traversed the area and even in other cities and other counties. But at the same time, we weren't going from California to Texas. So you weren't getting that on the road, experience with all the different vistas. So by adding that with the locations, it really tells you like, oh, wow, we're really going places. And we're, this doesn't feel like we're all in one spot.
Yeah, they were very unique locations, whether, we found them maybe through a friend or just you really getting on there and scouring
Google Earth was
Google Earth.
Yeah.
but also, even like, Johnny Cantor's place where I worked out. People see a lot of my workout videos, and that place became a location. And wait till you see it in the movie. It's phenomenal. And we just got a lot of great friendships and a lot of great relationships that pushed us through too. And I want to ask you a question. What was it like to direct your first film?
Well, I felt like it was in the saddle for me. I almost like I was right at home. And I enjoy overcoming challenges that, you'd face in that position. Like I enjoyed that because, you're stronger. You become a stronger person for having overcome those challenges. And so I like, those hurdles. And there's nothing more gratifying than making art that, came from what you imagined. It's just amazing. And to do it with other talented people, there's a synergy there that amplifies the satisfaction. So I just hope that continues to what people witness on the screen. If they pay attention, and I think that they will, this is a slow burn thriller, but it's more of a character piece between, our two leads, one of them, which is you. So, yes, I feel satisfied, but that doesn't just end here. It will end when I see it reflect upon people, which I haven't had that experience yet.
Yeah, and we haven't gone in the sound mix and the crucial areas that really bring your movie to life.
I know what it's going to feel like, though.
Yeah, you do. And I got to say this, your energy and attitude out there was phenomenal. Really, you did a wonderful job. And, I got to observe, most everything you did because I was literally right in the center there. And I was so impressed. And I believe everyone else was impressed. And I think when they watch this movie, they'll see the art that you put on screen and with the characters too and what they portray. And I'm like you, I felt like there was something different on this movie as far as like where I stood, and I felt really like in the right place of what I was doing, acting. And that was like more so than I've ever felt before. Even like, I wanted to be a ball player when I was a kid because that's what my dad did. But, I didn't take those grounders like my dad did as a ball player. And yes, I'm older now. I'm above 60, but it's, it's never too late to really, go for what you believed. If you're on that path to go and do it. And we were bold enough to really, from 3.5, 4 years ago, when we decided we're doing this, to stick with it. And that journey, to me, it just lives in me every day I wake up now, going, holy cow. Oh my God. Because if I was on the other side of not making the film, what that felt for me was very tough. And I knew what we were capable of doing, and the people that were on board that were in with us knew too. So I'm just, like I said, I'm grateful every time I wake up now and go, okay, now we got to just motor ahead and finish this movie the way we started it. Mm-hmm. And then get the ring, the independent film ring. There are none, but we can make it up.
We just want to get it to the audience.
Yes. So we have a great show today. My guest is Jonny Gomes, and he's
also known as Miggy Sergeant of Arms.
Yes, he's playing Miggy, the Sergeant of Arms for the Bandits Motorcycle Club. And Jonny got to be on our film through my buddy and who was close to my dad, Ryan Dempster. Called him out. Ryan was supposed to play a part, and he couldn't do it. And so he called Jonny, a couple other guys for us, which they were phenomenal. Archie Bradley.
Yes.
So, and then we got to mention Sean Casey in this film, who came from my relationship with Sean. And, boy, he's a big part of this film. And he was phenomenal playing a club member and a brother. So, and Jonny, man, he's a 2-time world champion. And what a personality, what a guy, and can't wait for you to hear the conversation. And also I want to say this, if anyone wants to check out like the making of our film Forever Wild Ones, you can go to our YouTube channel, Santo Films 10, and we have all the days that we shot. We have like a 2 to 3 minute overview video, kind of small little documentaries about each day, and it turned out really nice. So Jonny's on day 17 that he talks about his part in being involved in our film. So take a look at that.
So also, we have a new way we're doing the Crackerjack this year. So
Yes.
we are going to do a surprise question at the end.
I guess so.
We're going to do it?
I guess so.
Instead of having a second guest, it's going to be just a surprise question. And if anyone has a question that they want to surprise us with, you can email jeff.ppcpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, I think it's going to come from people that give out questions, and there might be 1 or 2 that we answer, depending. But
Yeah, or if you go to our Patreon, we can list there our upcoming guest, and if you have a question for our guest, we can even do a Crackerjack question for our guest.
yes, that's awesome too. Great.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
I love that.
Yeah.
So let's keep that going and enjoy the show.
Enjoy the show. This episode is also brought to you by Adama Farm. Adama Farm is a small regenerative vegetable and flower farm in Marengo, Illinois, dedicated to growing nutrient-dense food using no-till, chemical-free practices that prioritize healthy soil and thriving ecosystems. Beyond producing fresh, seasonal vegetables and flowers, the farm exists to reconnect people with their food through CSA memberships, farmers markets, educational workshops, and community events. Rooted in stewardship, sustainability, and a deep appreciation for the land, Adama Farm hopes to inspire others to support local, eat seasonally, and cultivate a stronger connection with nature and the people who grow their food. Go to adamafarm.co. That's ADAMA farm.co.
My special guest today is a 2-time World Series champion who got to the top of the baseball world by, as he has said, it was greater than pursuing baseball. He got there by pursuing life. Wow. Jonny Gomes, welcome to Peanuts, Popcorn, and Crackerjacks.
Yeah, buddy, we got a lot to cover, man. Thanks for having me. Anytime to be around greatness like yourself and to talk some ball, I'm all in.
Thank you, man. Good. I tell you, it's an honor having you. And that quote you have there says so much. Explain that to me.
Yeah, man. I mean, looking back on it, just life, man. There's so many forks in the road, and it's so hard to, play in a results-driven industry based around failure. So, you just find yourself like looking ahead and setting your goals to this and to do that. And the game of baseball and life is always like, trying to climb that ladder. And kind of came to the spot of just like, which is, I think, really important. It's just being present, like what's going on, like right freaking now, and let's just win the rep in the weight room, let's win the sprint, let's win the pitch. And I just simplified it, I just really just tried to simplify everything. And because I kind of got lost, in like goal setting and, where you want to hit 300 and this many home runs. I'm like, dude, I just want to get through this day freaking healthy, you know? Like, I
Right.
don't know. I mean, I talked about one time I was sitting on the bench and we had a coach. He's like, man, you seem like really locked in. Like, what's up? You know? I was like, dude, I have no idea what's going to happen today. You know, like I could be shipping my bat off to the Hall of Fame for something crazy I did, or I'm getting released. You know, like that's just such a big perspective of shit. So I just kind of backed off and I was like, let's just win the day.
That's beautiful, man. And it goes back to obviously your upbringing here, man. I did some, diving on you, and boy, you've had it tough, and you've fought through a lot of things. It reminds me a lot of my father. You guys kind of grew up with your mothers,
Mhm.
raised you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So talk a little bit about that, man, of growing up where you're from and how you did get that perspective and being present. I believe in that 100%. You're
Yeah.
in your head too much. You're not pursuing what you need to pursue, and that is life.
Yeah, I tell you, truthfully, it's like something I struggle with, like today, of wanting to give my kids just the best life, wanting them to have freaking everything and all this stuff. And it's great. And dude, I had nothing, nothing, and was so freaking happy. I was just talking the other day. I probably lived in like 22 houses before I graduated high school, house hopping, this and that. There was times where there was no house. But I was just there was no poor me, nothing, dude. I was so happy. Like all the toys in the world, dude. I just wanted to rock, you know? um, so yeah, so I mean, I struggle with that, with raising my kids, with wanting to have this and that and the other thing, and but yeah, I mean, at times, it was a looking back on it, it wasn't ideal, but it was never like tough, man. We just, we just rolled with the punches, you
Yeah.
know. We were
That's
just, yeah, I mean, you know,
that's yeah, that it's amazing because you were homeless for a while. You
yeah.
had your older brother, both of you guys were athletes.
Mhm.
And it seems like sports really helped you get through where there could be toughness in getting your next meal and your mom bringing home what you guys needed to survive and how to
Yeah.
sleep and you guys were putting on those uniforms and you had the same uniform that the other guy had. I
Yeah.
loved how you said that, man, how much that meant.
Well, I tell you what, man. I mean, to be completely honest, like it just absolutely groomed, the person I am today. And the sad part is, like I wouldn't have made it today, right? Like we're talking about, like, dude, I played all my games within like a bike route, you know. I rolled my bike to the yard like all the time. I mean, there's 10-year-olds jumping flights now, to go play places. There's $400 bats. I joke with the guys now, like, bro, like if you brought a bat to like Little League, like you were high maintenance. The team had two bats, right? It had a
Right.
33 and a 32 inch, and you just used one of those. If the kid that brought his own bat was like high maintenance. So would have won having to be able to fork out 400 a bat every year for a bat every year. I don't know if Jonny Gomes would have made it, but yeah, man, it was a great break of reality to when I was in between the lines that everybody had the same uni. Didn't matter what your bank account looked like. Didn't matter what car you got there in. Nothing. We were all on the same playing field. So once I kind of checked into that, sports was our saving grace.
Were you a three sport guy or was it baseball? Did you know it was going to be baseball? What was your thought process on that?
Yeah, so we definitely played all sports. I was definitely, honestly, I was like real into like we call it like core sports, or if you were to look now, it's like the X Games type of deal, right? Like I was real big in motocross, BMX, mountain bike, wakeboarding. Um, I was real close to starting to compete, which I wanted to, but the boat life was a little expensive. I was like really good at single skiing, like hitting the slalom course behind the boat. And looking back on it now, like just how important I talk about with kids these days is like, I call them balance hobbies, right? Like having to have good balance to do something, right? Rollerblading, bike, wakeboarding, snowboarding. I was doing that stuff like all the time. So building that core strength and all this stuff. But, I think I grew early and then grew another like real late. Like I was a late bloomer, super late bloomer. So I was really into football and I was like smashing people in football. And then I started to get smashed. And I was like, oh, but I don't like this sport anymore. So then I kind of went in, all in on baseball. I'd say like junior year in high school. And I was like, we're going to ride this deal as long as I can.
Excellent. Was your brother influencing you? I mean, how much older was he than you?
He's a year and 20 days older than me. And it's funny, like our house, like our trophy section of our house, like he was MVP, all state, all conference, two sport, the most decorated. We used to have like shoe boxes of letters from colleges. And my trophy section was all like most improved, good teammate, chemistry guy, all that stuff. I was stacking most improved trophies. But yeah, man, I mean, he definitely paved the way, for sure, because he was way ahead of me, early on.
That's amazing. So you looked up to him, huh? You guys got along, obviously, right? For you to kind of be obviously the younger bro and the teammate that stuck with you. The great teammate. That's what I hear about Jonny Gomes, man. You get him in your clubhouse, and you guys are going to do something special this season. Did that start young, man? It sounds like it.
Yeah, which is funny is I had a buddy who's an Italian kid with just like this huge family. And I thought it was so cool. I remember going to like his family reunion in like 7th grade. There was like 250 people there. I'm like, you know all these people? Well, I don't know, but like you're related. Like, and I didn't have a big family. It was just my mom, my brother. I'm like, that's it, man. That's it. We had an uncle check in and out. But yeah, dude, I was never raised with cousins. I was never raised with aunts, uncles, like nothing. So from Jump Street, like my team was my family, and I just love that aspect of it. And so I checked into that like real early.
Wow. What a thing to do, because I think there's nothing more special than having a solid brother, having a solid teammate. You know what I mean? They are your brothers, man. And it has a lot to do how me and you met by the brotherhood that you have had in the clubhouse. I'm doing it in the motorcycle culture with your character, and they're a lot the same. I've been in both clubhouses growing up in Wrigley Field, my father, and then obviously, knowing Sonny Barger and the Hells Angels and being around their culture for doing a film with them. And it's similar, man. I could look at you and go, hell, man, you look like a Hells Angel, right? Similar with the same grit, the same passion, the same kind of code, wanting to, look out for your brother, wanting to be a cool teammate. Also, I read a lot about that, how you would just jump into brawls defending a teammate, not really like being part of the brawl, but just to defend.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Maybe I've started a scuffle here and there, but I never did, to be honest. I don't think, but I was always, had all my teammates' backs. I really did. I'd take a punch and throw a punch, for all my brothers. But yeah, that was kind of like light work to me. I mean, if you grow up a little rough around the edges, you're not afraid of a little hands-on combat. Some people never did have that, and that's all right, But yeah, I had to fight from everything from equipment to food. So fighting to protect a teammate, was no big deal for me.
Fighting was your way to deal with things. I know you had a really cool, solid quote on that too about, you either fight to get out of it or fight for it.
Yeah.
Right. And people, do you think we've lost that a little bit today?
man?
Oh man, I mean, if I could have a class for the kids, these days, it's just getting punched, right?
Right.
Just that's the
Yeah.
class. Like you got to get punched, man. You got to, And then once you do, you figure out like you don't want to do that anymore,
Right.
And but yeah, I mean, scuffles at times, I tell people about like building chemistry, on ball clubs. And I go, listen, man, team chemistry is built the fastest through bad decisions. Once you make some bad decisions, you find out who's in your foxhole and who's not real quick.
Got that right. Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to build that team chemistry over like wheatgrass shots and hummus.
Yeah, that's so true, man. How you say that, man, making bad decisions and then and knowing how to turn the ship, of yourself and the people around you. People don't talk like that, and I love that, man. How do you got young boys playing ball now? I see you got a pretty big family.
Yeah, we got a lot.
And how do you teach them going into this and knowing that they have way more than you had growing up?
Yeah. It's hard. And I was talking to a bunch of coaches the other day, and, like I'm a realist, I don't like to come across like I have all the answers, and I think like our coaches, I think we were kind of playing the same game as they grew up in, right? Today is polar opposite, right? The game I'm teaching now, that the life these kids have, I didn't grow up in. So if you think you have the answers, you don't. Right? Because I mean, all we can do is teach what we learned when we were younger and what worked and what didn't work. It's a totally different deal now. So I think everybody is trial and error right now. Nobody has the answers, right? How much is too much to play video games? I don't know. We don't know. How much is too much like screen time? People are like, oh, don't do it, do it, don't do it, do it. I don't know. And then, like this, it's all freaking trial and error. So you just got to have like a couple of your core deals, and you got to stick to them. You got to have your beliefs and, roll with it. Like I mentioned, like, dude, all my games were just in a bike loop. I rode my bike to all my games, Now my kid will never ride his bike to the game, right? It's not safe out there. We got this. You need a GPS on your kid. You got this. You got to worry about that. So, it's all trial and error, man. These guys coming out talking like they got the freaking answers. They don't have the freaking answers. They absolutely don't have the answers. But yeah, you just got to be, ingrained in your beliefs and pass those on. And we'll find out in 20 years if you're right or you're wrong. But no one's got a freaking clue right now, man. It's weird time.
That's true, man. And I think you simplified it. Growing up, it seemed simple, right? You do this, you write your games, you leave the house and you're on your own, you're not connected to much. Way different today. But I still think it's the heart, the soul, and the integrity of who you are and how you get after it, and to me, you can't do it alone. This life, you can't live that alone. And your story is really about that, just your mother and your brother and how you fought, and you've had also some serious tragedy along with that. And I love how you talk about, tragedy and triumph, one of the same. You get the tragedy, but it leads you to the triumph, Talk about that, man.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of like, thrown to the wolves like early on, I was in a fatality car accident, my sophomore year in high school, and lost my best buddy. Fucking suffered a heart attack, at 21 years old. Just all kinds of crazy stuff. Attacked by a freaking wolf, right? Had a wolf freaking around my neck, yeah.
Really?
Just all kinds of dumb stuff, But
how is that dumb? How do you stop a wolf from attacking you if you just come upon one? How did that happen, man?
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, there was a time where I grew up in this town called Point Reyes in Inverness, population of like 300, way out in the sticks. And I was at my grandma's house, and my grandma would have this guy come over, and he was kind of, like a handyman, working on the fence, doing this, doing that. Looney Tune of a dude, Vietnam vet, all the stuff. And he came to the yard one day, and he had what I thought was like a dog, like on this chain leash, And I was all super pumped. I always wanted a dog. And I went up and he was like, no, no, no. He's like, you can't pet this guy. He's like, it's not a dog. And I'm like, that's a dog. I know a dog. And he's like, nah, this is a grade whatever, like freaking wolf. And this dude like lived out in the deal and he rescued this wolf when he was a pup. And it was like 2 years old. And so, yeah, like, all right. So he ties this wolf up to like a tree and he's kind of just chilling. It's like the most majestic animal you've ever seen. Eyes glowing. The coat was like glowing. And he's like, do not touch his dog or the wolf. And I was like, all right. So he takes off and I'm just sitting watching this thing. And I was like, I got to pet this thing. This is just the coolest thing. So I get up like close and he's just kind of like laying down, and I'm getting up. I was probably like 12 years old. Go to give it a putt, and this thing just rips up and puts his paws on my chest and knocks me over on my back. And I felt like his fangs, and he's just right on my neck, like right here. And like we made eye contact. I mean, maybe a little court awareness, a little street smarts, and I was just like, I think you just got to play dead. I think that's what I read. I think you just got to do that. So, yeah, I was just submissive and just kind of like gave up. And then he kind of just got off me and like rolled away and then went back to laying down. Didn't tell that story forever,
Wow, man.
Yeah, it was
that's like a Grimm's Brothers story, a fable of the wild man going out into the woods and leaving the kid to learn a lesson. Don't stick your hand in the pond, but don't touch the wolf, man.
Yeah.
And you did, and you found out what it could do.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it was a feeling I've never had, still, you felt those fangs give a little freaking jug, like a little squeeze right here on my neck. And then from then, dude, I was just kind of like, dude, I got house money. Like, I'm not supposed to be here. Like, let's go kick this life's ass, like, geez, this is great.
Oh my God, man. And a heart attack. How does a heart attack hit you at 21? I read that. I couldn't believe that, man.
Yeah, that was wild, man. I just got done with my second season of pro ball and I was sitting at home, Christmas Eve, actually, just got done eating like a huge California style burrito, So I remember I was sitting at home and I was just kind of like, gadoosh, like inside. And I just thought, we're just digesting this burrito or whatever. But that's when the heart attack started. And it's called the Widowmaker, right? That's the style of like heart attack. And just to this day, like they have no idea what causes it and who gets it. It just freaking closes up. So just out of the blue, it's all boom, like locked up. And I didn't really know what was happening, this and that. I just, the whole deal that you don't know, I mean, the left arm, deal, the tingling in the left arm. Felt like an elephant was sitting on my chest. And I ended up going to bed and came out the next day. And I just remember the pain was with me like instantly. So I'm like riding this heart attack out. I'm just freaking going for it. And I'm sitting on my couch right around like the 24-hour mark of having this. And, when you're watching a movie or something, you're in your recliner, you're watching a movie and you kind of you do the little head bob because you're like falling asleep. But it was 4:00 in the afternoon. And I just remember like a full snap back, right? Which means like, you fell asleep or whatever. But I was like wide awake or anything. And I was like, dude, I just stopped breathing. Like I checked out.
Oh
right?
My God, man.
Yeah. So we went to the hospital and I remember the doctor, he's got his deal. I'm giving him like all my symptoms and stuff. And he's like listening to it. And I was like, hey, doc, dude, I don't want to like challenge your knowledge but I'm struggling here, bro. Like I'm manually breathing. And this little thing, like that ain't working. I need some drugs. We got to move this thing. He's like, oh, okay. So he gives me an EKG test. And it's funny. I think no one gets an EKG test while having a heart attack. Like the test comes that like, so the numbers were just fucking haywire. So right when that sheet came out, it flipped in the ER. Cut my shirt, like stabbed in my stomach, like all kinds of shots, IVs, and then that zapper deal, right? That deal. So they spread my legs, they threw it on, and I remember the doctor was like, we were like nose to nose, like right here, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "Got to push play if your eyes roll back."
Wow,
So
man.
now I'm like trying to control my eyes, like, do this. And then in a sick way with my head, I'm like, I wonder what it feels like, right? To get this thing zapped. So luckily I didn't have to get zapped, but ended up staying in the hospital for probably like 8 days to where they're just running tests on me. Luckily I was like up by Stanford. So all these like hot shot heart dudes came in. Cause I was 22 years old, fresh 22, like impeccable shape, pro athlete, no drugs, no steroids, no riffraff, no nothing. Like, how does this guy just have a heart attack? And, is leaving the hospital. They're like, we don't know, man. We don't know.
Wow.
Yeah. So now I like really got house money, right? Now it's like, let's win the day for sure.
No, man, I had AFib, severe AFib when I was younger after my first movie, and then I got it later at 50, and I went into heart failure, didn't know I was in AFib again. And when your heart, I did 8 days in the hospital too, like you said, and I got the shock and all that when I was younger too, and that burned through now it's different. But at that age, at 50, you're like, okay, now you gotta health wise, but when you're 21, 22, to actually have that psychology of what just happened, they're not giving me did they give you any answer going forward?
No.
Wow, man.
Yeah. And then the crazy thing is, people like, they have some like health scare or whatever, and you got to clean your diet. You got to stop drinking, smoking, like some sort of like life change.
Yeah.
But there's no life change at all. My cholesterol was impeccable. There's no drugs, no riffraff, no nothing. Just in the hospital for 8 days and leave. And like, there's nothing to change.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a tough one, Johnny. Like it was tough for me even at 50 going through that, and when I was young getting the AFib, because you're not sure, like then it goes away, you think you're good, you forget about it. But at your age getting hit with something like that, man, it's almost like it would stay in your head as an athlete because you're nervous, right? Like getting beamed in the head some guys can't get over that, That's amazing to shoot through that and out of nowhere, man. Yeah, you have had some things to really, like the thresholds you have gone through in your world. That's kind of it. The more pain you take, the more endurance you get through that pain. You become more present, I believe. And like you're talking, man. Well, let me shoot here to a couple more baseball things, man. Your 2013 season in Boston.
Yeah.
I mean, you've had a really cool career. Always seem to have like being on a winning team and having that winning vibe with you. And 2013 was really special with the Boston Strong. What made that team click? Because you guys were the worst team in 12, which you weren't on it then. Then they brought in you and 6 other guys. Tell me about like what makes a team click to win a World Series, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of meat on the bone. I think from Jump Street, like how that team was assembled was the right way, but would never happen again. Let's go out and get like early 30, mid 30, vets. Let's just go see how many of those guys we can get. That's not where the game is anymore, right? It's just young prospects. It's this, it's that. Like, imagine going out and you got like 6 free agents to sign, and let's go sign dudes that have all like had their teeth kicked in, like almost to the World Series, right? So you got Mike Napoli at first base, who's gone back-to-back World Series and doesn't have one. You got Steven Drew, who's been to the playoffs. You got David Ross, who's been to the playoffs. You got Dempster. You got a John Lackey, who's, been with the Angels. You just have like this hungry group of guys surrounded by champions like Shane Victorino, like John Lester, like Dustin Pedroia. It was such a great formula, but I don't think that formula could happen again. But yeah, we weren't picked to be good, whatever. But I remember my first spring training, I looked to my left, I got Jacoby Ellsbury, and I got a Gold Glover center fielder playing right, and Shane Victorino. I got Napoli, I got Pedroia, I got Stephen Drew, I got John Lester on the mound, caught by, Saltamacchio with David Ross. And I'm like, this is the best team I've ever been on. Everyone's freaking crazy thinking we're not going to be good. So yeah, I mean, to be honest, it was World Series or bust. It really was.
And again, you coming in there too right away, you're like, one day closer to the parade. You did a little bit of a Lawrence of Arabia too, going, it's written. Just got to press play.
Yeah,
I love that mindset, man. And it seemed like you got a hold of that mindset young. So you had a lot of wisdom that you brought into the clubhouse, man, that people just gravitated towards. And that's amazing, man. And was there an equation that you could say, what is a World Series champion?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm fortunate to go to the playoffs 6 times, been to the World Series 3, won 2 of them, lost 1 with Tampa in 2008. And so you sit back now that it's like over, you want to give advice, or you want to do this, or you want to do that. What I've realized is like the playoff teams and the World Series teams, like they're all polar opposite. They really are, right? But the last place teams are highlight copy, right? So instead of trying to do the great things, you just got to lay down and not do these shitty 5 things, right? You can't let's try, to, highlight copy this World Series team or this World Series. I won in 2013 with the Red Sox, 2015 with the Royals, just 2 years apart. Polar opposite teams. Absolutely polar opposite teams. But I've also been on some teams that, have lost upwards of 100 games. Those teams are all the same. Absolutely same. Leadership in the clubhouse, can't play defense, can't pitch, bullpen sucks, guys aren't hanging out, blah, blah, blah. All those guys are the same. So, and it sounds weird. It's like you really want to focus on not sucking versus trying to be great. Right. So you just want to freaking get rid of, the shitty baseball and focus on that and understand when that happens, like in April and August, that's going to lead into September. So you just got to, I tell people, just don't play shitty baseball, right? Don't try and play great baseball, because there's a lot of different ways to be great. The 2013 Red Sox team, we were just like real adamant about getting that pitch count up, taking your walks, doing damage, the 3-run homer, the grand slams, all this stuff. The 15 Royals team, they're swinging early. We're going like hit, 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 hit. And it was like pass the torch, pass the torch. So 2 polar opposite ways, of doing things. But it was just funny, trying to compare the winning teams is like really hard, right? They're so different. But the shitty teams were all the same.
Wow, man. Wow. Yeah. And I feel like going to the 2013 in the World Series, you come in game 4, which is a crucial game. You guys are down 2-1. You go down 3-1. It's hard to come back from that. Not many teams have. And you playing in the game that you're not supposed to be in. Another kind of fate thing with you. And then you even talked about when you were up to the plate, you thought you were going to get pinch hit for. Is that talk about that a little bit? And then how you wanted that moment to happen for you, where other people may be looking behind them going, oh, he's going to take me out, and they get taken out. You're like, I'm not even looking back. I'm going to the goddamn plate.
Yeah. So going into game 4, truthfully, it was probably like the first time, like all year, like we started to have a little bit of doubt, because game 3, if you remembered, the third out was on interference. It was like an interference play, the craziest play. And I say it was probably one of the best double plays that got erased ever. Like Dustin Pedroia dives up, throws to Salty, tags the guy. Salty throws it third, emails it third. Nava's backing him up. Great defense, throws it home, gets the guy out, but they called interference. So now I'm like, oh, we're going against, the umpires and the baseball gods and the Cardinals, well-decorated organization, like all stuff. So we go to game 4, and I'm not in the lineup. So I'm hitting in the last group. Normally the starters, hit early, so I'm on the field. And John Farrell comes like flying out of the dugout. And he goes, Gomes. He's complete panic. He's like, hey, we just had to scratch, Victorino. He's like, you're going to play left. And he just had this like white face. John, man, relax. We'll be all right, bud. We'll be all right. Let me get some swings. Let me go get a hot ham sandwich, and we'll run out there, and we're going to freaking win the game tonight. And then, so I always say I've always fought for just the opportunity. And I've never had the result like on my mind. I never wanted to get the big hit. I never wanted to, this, but I wanted the opportunity. And I figured the result was just going to happen, right? Baseball, like you do your homework, and when the test comes, like I said, you just got to press play. And if you've done all your homework, it's going to work out. So I really wasn't worried about the result as much as having the opportunity. I was so pumped just to have the opportunity to be in the box in the World Series game. And then, so Lance Lynn was in the game. He gets taken out. And this was back, with the DH, and Mike Napoli was on the bench because Poppy started first. So getting into the bullpen, I mean, it's a no-brainer that Mike Napoli gets this at bat. So, and the game was kind of speeding up, and I figured if I went back to the dugout to get the scouting report, it would kind of like speed everything up. And be like, oh, you can't have this at bat. No. So I never even went back to the dugout to get like the scouting report, like on the pitchers or, talk to the hitting coach. So I just stayed out there and, was able to get deep in the count and left the sinker up and changed the score, 3-run homer. And it was history from there.
Oh, man, that's awesome. That sure was. And nothing better than a 3-run homer, man.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
Those aren't easy to come by. So that's just a great moment, and just someone who, I love how you say that. Look for the opportunity, and don't think so much about are you gonna succeed in it.
Yeah. And I tell guys all the time, even like in the real world, like job interviews. People are casting, like, and you're like, you got casted for the big role, and you can get so bummed out when you don't get the job or you don't get the role or you don't get all this stuff. But if you just start stacking opportunities, just be fortunate you got the opportunity, like all these pieces will fall, they'll eventually, if you keep getting these opportunities, and you got to continue to fight for the opportunities. And when you get the opportunity, you can't be really, focused too much on the result, because sometimes it's out of your hands. But as you stack up these opportunities, eventually some things are going to go your way.
Yeah, and you have a certain way about you too, man, where it's people like when I first met you, obviously like you came into our clubhouse, right?
Yeah.
And referred by a teammate of yours and a friend of mine, and your personality slowly comes out, like it's bubble. Like, I know this guy's got it. He's revving, man, high frequency. I could just feel it. You can almost feel the guys that rev at high frequency. And there's something special about that I think when you go back to saying being present, speak a little bit about that, what that gives you.
Yeah, man. I mean, from my past, right? Just having the opportunity to have a freaking house above your head, that's freaking awesome. And you take that for granted, but you don't if there was times when you didn't have it. Food on your plate, right? I mean, try go to bed with your stomach just rolling because you're starving. There's no food in the fridge, going to your best friend's funeral, right? Maybe almost having your own funeral, so you kind of, you kind of get lost in like what's really going on. But what matters is where your feet are, and then what matters more than that is whose feet are you around, right? You got to surround yourself with some good feet. You got to surround yourself with some good people. So just trials and tribulations of some good, some bad, and just taking a step back, and just trying to win the moment and win the day and win a good relationship and, win good people that you're around. Then you kind of figure out like, yeah, man, this game of life is pretty freaking cool. And this game of life is freaking really cool when you're able to surround yourself with some good dudes.
Oh, right on, man. Well said. Hey, let's finish up here with talking about you being in Forever Wild Ones, man. What was that experience like? And were you, when Demp called you, Were you like, oh, is this could suck or this could be good? What was your thought process?
Yeah, man. So, yeah, I mean, I think, what am I, 46 or almost 46, 45. So I've been in a lot of arenas, I've done a lot of shit, but, I've never been on a set, right? Never acted or, never been around acting or like all this stuff. I mean, granted, I played a game on TV, but, it wasn't scripted by any means. So I was just, again, super stoked for, the opportunity and just like sit back and observe and take it all in. And bro, it's hard. That's what it's hard. And then I start going like, yeah, that's why these actors make so much damn money. Cause that's a skill. It's hard. And then the production, right? I mean, you sit back and you watch like these two people on TV, like hashing it out, and there's friggin' 500 people behind it. The frickin' light guy, the sound guy, the makeup gal, the this, the that, the trucks, the trains, the round. Oh fuck, man. It's a production to put these things on. Memorizing the lines, having the chemistry, get into character. Like what a freaking skill that is, right? Like you got to be the dude that, you're acting. And go through it all. I'm just thinking like, damn, like, how do you cry? Right? Like, how do you do like these really like tough, how do you get pissed off, when it's like acting? But it really gave me a whole nother perspective of just the whole arena. But yeah, you guys were awesome, man. And I'm really looking forward to that final product, like coming out. And it was just a blessing to be a part of it. You guys were great. And, you brought me in with open arms and, it was fun. I wanted to do more, it was like you guys finished and wrapped it up. But, I was blessed and lucky to be a part of it. This thing's going to rock and roll for sure.
Oh, thanks, man. It was great having you on. And I tell you, you fit right in, man. And you have entertainment skills. Do you feel that? Have you always felt that? Like you walk into a room, obviously because of how the teammates react to you. And do you know you're an entertainer?
So I mean, like I mentioned, dude, from like, growing up, bouncing around different houses, and then, my playing career, I thought it'd be like really freaking cool, like the Cal Ripken, the Derek Jeter, the Chipper, just to like be in one org like the whole time. But man, that was not my path, right? I was on this team and that team and this team. And like it became kind of like a skill of mine to like walk into a room, and have to like command respect by just walking in and how you carry yourself and eye contact. And, you can't be someone different than you're not. And then kind of going in with your shoulders back, hips out, but being quiet, not being too loud. You got to command respect with your energy. So I kind of learned how to like do that. And even just walking onto the set or whatever, I didn't want to be someone I wasn't. So it takes a while. I keep my mouth shut. I observe, I figure out who's the loud guy, who's the joking guy, figure out who I'm going to gem with, who I'm not, read the room. Might take a day or two or whatever. And then I'm able to, here's Jonny Gomes. This is the guy you're getting. Sorry, I'm a little late to the party. But, I had to evaluate the room real quick.
Yeah. That's so true, man. I mean, that's just so true. And you have that presence. I mean, a lot of acting is just bringing who you are to the table in that character,
Yeah.
And really sticking with it and understand, oh, he's this way. I got that part in me. I got this part in me. The older you get, you get different parts as you go, man. And you brought that guy, man. It was cool. I can't wait for people to see it. We got some really cool people in this, and I really wanted to bring that sports element because I feel you guys are a lot like the biker community as far as the club community. These guys are serious, and they're serious about their clubs, just as you're serious about your clubs. My dad was serious about the Cubs, that was his world, and it fits, man. It fits, and it's cool. And I think that's gonna really play for us and show that there's these guys that fit this world. And it also shows that I really think today sports figures like yourself that are retired, not far from the game, still very close to the game. They have a lot that can cross over into the entertainment world. I think entertainment world's becoming everything now, What's your future going forward? Where do you see yourself and where you're sitting right now?
Yeah, man, I don't know. I love, like different aspects, right? And, I'm also not afraid to like be vulnerable. Like I probably could have like passed on this opportunity, be like, I don't know how to act. I've never acted, like whatever. It was kind of the same going into like broadcasting. Like people go to school for this shit, and people go to the minor leagues, and, thousands of games logged before you're able to get on that main stage, in broadcast. I mean, there's 9 players on the field. There's only 2 dudes talking about them, right? So there's rare, So getting into the broadcasting game was really fun. But I think, as far as like my main gig, baseball is all I know in life, and I love sharing my stories in baseball and teaching the youth. And, I feel it's in me for all the, games I played and years I played in the big leagues to give back to the game. That was so great to me. There's a lot of ways to do that. But at the same time, too, like, doing new shit, realizing, I tell people, everyone's like, oh, time flies. Yeah, it does fly. But if you want to hear about it, it's going to take forever because I do cool shit all the time, So just continue to be vulnerable in life and do new stuff and keep bumping into stuff.
I love that, man. I love that. And I think there is so much more opportunity now for ball players like yourself because you guys are so connected. And you guys got a great brotherhood, which I think that's key today, getting back more into community brotherhood clubs. And hey, man, it was great having you on set. Everyone loved you. My wife says hello. And can't wait for you to see the finished product because you're kicking ass in this, and Sean Casey too. You guys are natural, man. You're natural. Just understand what's going on because you guys have had high pressure moments in your life all the way through to get to where you got, man. So
when this movie kicks ass, call me up and we'll do the sequel. I'll do it again, part 2.
Oh man, believe me, I'll be thinking about you all the time, and so you'll be part of when we release this, man. No doubt about it, Johnny. Thank you so much for being on my podcast, and thank you so much for being involved with Forever Wild Ones.
I got you, bud. Can't wait to do it again.
Talk to you soon, pal. Thanks again.
All right, now.
All right. See you, brother. Bye, man.
Thanks for listening to our show. I want to say a very, very special thanks to our brand new Crackerjack, Ron Wexler.
Ronnie Wexler, good to have you, man. Ronnie we go way back at the fantasy baseball camp. Ron and his brother have been there for years, and cool that we got Ronnie on here.
Yay.
Awesome.
Welcome to the club. And a really special thanks to all of our cool Crackerjacks who have stayed with us through the hiatus. And so we're going to give their names here in a second.
Yes.
So we're going to do the Crackerjack, surprise Crackerjack first. So the question comes from one of our cool Crackerjacks.
Yep.
Jim McCauley. So he says, during the movie shoot, was there a specific moment when you thought, wow, Christie or Jeff, is really bringing it? So for me, I'll answer for you and you answer for me.
All right, I'll answer first then. Yes, there was a moment. On day 2, we were filming. We kind of filmed closer to the end on day 2. And
you mean to the end of the film?
Of the film. Yeah, it's out of order. Like people, you don't film it chronologically linear. You got to do it depending on where your locations are. And I love that you put more of the film towards the back half first, and later you brought on the beginning of the movie, which really, because now the characters are together so long that the first thing we see in a movie is the beginnings. You want the characters to really.
I'm a very big believer in the fact that you should not start the film shoot at the beginning of the film because chemistry isn't quite there yet. Even if you know the person, it's still not quite there yet. You can watch a film, and if they shot chronologically, you can watch a film and be like, I'm not really into this. But if you stick around and stick into it, then you're like, oh, it's getting better. Well, sometimes that can be solved by not shooting in order.
Yeah, it's cool that you did that, and we were ready either way. But I came to that philosophy like that. That's very cool. So anyway, on day 2, we were shooting this clubhouse scene with a lot of bikers, a lot of Wild Ones members in the clubhouse, and probably 20 plus guys in there. And it got a little like, it was a cool environment, but closed off. And so sometimes it got a little noisy. And I remember you just yelling out to everyone to just shut up. And everyone went quiet. And so here you are with sometimes you put your voice out there and telling all these guys that are in motorcycle vests playing Wild Ones. And a lot of them, we knew a lot of them. And that was really cool to see, like, you taking control and like, okay, she has arrived, and there was a lot of testosterone in that room, and you put it to bed as far as like the noise.
I had to use my World Cup voice. And I say that because at one point I was a waitress working in the World Cup in a British pub. And so, you just got to sometimes just, do what you got to do so that people hear you, because you got a tray full of expensive alcohol and you got to get it through. And so you got to use your big girl voice. And, the project is the most important thing. And so you just have to man up.
Yeah, you did. And from there too, though, it was, you had a little laugh after too. Everyone kind of had a little laugh after, like, holy cow, went quiet real quick. But yeah, I knew right then, and I kind of knew before, but it was just seeing you. Actually, if I really dig deep here, just seeing you master these locations and how you just went after them, and literally in a car and went after them. Lenny too. Right on.
Well, it's funny that you chose day 2 of filming, because I also have day 2 of filming. So, I knew you were going to do great on day 1. You really, impressed a lot of people that day as well. People were really had a lot of emotion watching you. But on day 2, that was it was the first time you were wearing that cut around other members. For people that don't know what a cut is, it's a motorcycle vest, leather vest or whatever, that has the patches on it, the insignia of your club. And so that's what you wear in the film, which represents your club that you're with, the Wild Ones. And so seeing you in that environment, a clubhouse with a bunch of other guys wearing their patches, and you're navigating the space as the member, and dealing with what you had to deal with in that scene. I'm trying my best right now not to give away spoilers. You and I know what happened in that scene, and it was pretty impressive to see that. And it was a very physical performance in addition to emotional performance, and you had to do that simultaneously while also having these physical ailments that your character is dealing with. So you had to juggle multiple things while acting. And not only did you do that successfully, beyond successfully, but you also had like a peanut gallery of people watching. We had our monitors. Not only there's the essential monitors that our crew needs to watch, our scripting needs to watch, and then our hair and makeup need to watch, and everyone has their monitors they need to watch, but also we just had them share one of those monitors so that our peanut gallery of the actors who were in the previous scene could watch. And then plus some of our special guests and investors were there that day. And it was like live theater.
It really was. That was the part that was interesting. And in the scene, I was in the scene with obviously a lot of the club guys that played it, and they know who they are. And, some investors, obviously there, a few of them, more than a few. And what was cool about that is who I was playing opposite of was Grandin Galen Getzman, who plays the character of Conrad. And you'll be hearing him on the show coming up a week from now or so. And we actually realized we were doing live theater when literally 20-some guys are sitting watching a monitor that aren't partaking in the...
I yell cut, and then all of a sudden you hear...
Yeah, and I remember Archie Bradley going, "This is better than watching Netflix." And so that was cool to be like, hey, here these guys are watching the monitor, also seeing beyond the monitor us in the room, and then going, we enjoyed that. So that you're doing something pretty cool, Mm-hmm. And I remember I turned to Grant. I'm like, this is, game on. I'm like, we didn't hesitate. Usually it might be, hey, kick everyone out of the room. Let's give the actors some space. No, we're like, bring it on. This is our environment. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool. That was really, really cool environment. And I'm glad that we got to share that experience with a lot of people that were part of this film, as, supporting us, and a lot of their friends that were at that day, so very cool. Well,
great. So, hey, thanks for listening to our show again. Special thanks to our cool Crackerjacks, Scott Nelson, Jim McCauley, Debbie Foley, Sherry Matarisi, Gary Tallman, Mac McPhillamy, Paula Conlon, Steve Mahon. Stephen Mahon. You got to let us know if we're not pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah, we got to know.
And our new one, Ron Wexler. This show is made possible because of all of them and all of our subscribers. If you want to support the show and be a cool Crackerjack yourself, subscribe on our Patreon page, click the link below this episode, or go to the Patreon tab on our website, www.peanutspopcornandcrackerjacks.com.
And Jim McCauley, thank you for that question. That was very cool. I call Jim McCauley Dog Time. Dog Time, thank you. And leave a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify. That would be cool. All right.
And don't hesitate to write. Give us suggestions. Tell us how you're liking the show. Also, email those Crackerjack questions to jeff.ppcpodcast@gmail.com.
For my closing quote, freedom lies in being bold. Robert Frost.
Toodaloo! At santofilms.com, we offer a diverse range of products, including indie films, movie posters, books, music, and related merchandise. Check out our new This Old Cub apparel and podcast merchandise. Or delve into the pages of Ravens in the Rain, a twisty tale about a woman with a past and a man with no future. Or immerse yourself in the soundtrack from the original motion picture Jake's Corner, featuring 5 original songs by B.J. Thomas and the film score by award-winning songwriter Steve Dorff. Enjoy free shipping on all orders of $40 or more. Use the code PODCAST at checkout. Support small business. Visit www.santofilms.com. And while you're there, click the link for the Ron Santo official website. We've got a retro-inspired Ron Santo fan club shirt, Ron Santo Pizzeria shirts, and signature apparel. Go to www.santofilms.com.